Welcome back to the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. It's Island News Report, and I am your host, Dreadnought Ryan. So let's go ahead and get into the news. The Blue brand Walmart finally got its Night Force exclusive out, as we saw with the Tiger Force Roadblock and Tripwire. We are getting a repaint of Shockwave in Night Force colors, and then the repaint of the Ram. Now, originally, Night Force was in a black and orange-red type of coloring during the Real American Hero line. I do have to admit, though, I like this gray tone with the copper or the gold type coloring on the Ram cycle. I wasn't planning on picking this up until I really saw the Ram, so I'm going to pick up one of these. If the Ram does look really good, I might pick up another. This item is actually still up for pre-order on Walmart's website, which is scary in itself. Hopefully that means we won't see cancellation of those orders. Where for folks who like to go and hunt in the wild, hopefully you'll see these hitting stores real soon. Next up, I want to send a big thank you to Chris McLeod, who's been keeping us up to date with all of the leak listings for 2024 and now for 2025. He's been filling out this list, letting us know what to expect for the rest of 2024 as they start to fill out all of the different waves for our G.I. Joe Classified figures, identifying some of the store exclusives, con exclusives, and then, of course, the retro carded stuff as well, too. Happy to hear that Road Pig has been officially name only revealed. He is Highway Pet, which means that Road Pig will come with a companion. I can't wait to see what that could possibly be. But real excited to see all these different figures that we'll be able to pick up for this year. And then also looking into 2025, looks to be a pretty healthy year for G.I. Joe Classified as well. We'll continue on the 4-figure waves. So we're looking at 4 mainline releases, and then a number of the retro carded figures as well. Can't wait to see what we'll get with those. And then, of course, the exclusives and the miscellaneous. So Amazon, Target, Walmart, your collector con type of situations. Looks to be a pretty fun year for 2025. Big shout out to Jbird. I'm sorry, Jedi Jbird, who did share with us that shipping data has shown that the Ferret with driver is starting to ship from China to the United States. So hopefully in April, we'll see this go up for pre-order, and then we can see how much that this will be going for. I'm thinking it's going to be under $50, kind of along the same prices as the Ram and possibly the Trouble Bubble. So more to come on this, though. And again, I would say for April, we'll probably see these go up for pre-orders as well. And then if you guys haven't had a chance, go over and check out Adventure in Collecting. Emily, Lenny, and Tony did join that group for a podcast. I know that Emily had posted on Instagram just where you could, ask questions, because she did announce that they would be going on this particular episode to talk with the guys from Adventures in Collecting. During that interview, they did announce that Blowtorch will be joining the Classified line. I know this is one character that a lot of people have been asking for. I do hope we get the original red and yellow color, and then as they did in the modern line, give us that military tone of the greens and the brown as well. We know this is a figure line that does get repaint, so I think we'll get to see both of those as well. And then one of my favorite Dreadnoughts, it is Donald DeLuca from Go Blue, Michigan, which unfortunately is not a real town here in Michigan. It's Ann Arbor, where the home of the University of Michigan is. I can't wait to get this particular figure. I love the fact that he's from Michigan. It's just like Stalker. I think as kids, we were always drawn to the Joes that are from our home states. But I'm also excited to see what his companion will be and really how big this figure will be. I hope he is a big chunky boy, kind of really stand apart from the rest of the Dreadnoughts. Of course, life is always better when we have more Dreadnoughts. Next up, the group, the Joe team shared just some of the learning experiences that they've had from the HasLab. To start with, the Dragonfly is progressing quite well. They do have the EP1 in hand. They did request an EP2. So these are production samples. They're just looking to make sure that everything is correct. Even though these are adult collectibles, they still have to go through testing. And one of those is a drop test. And since The Dragonfly is considered a flying vehicle. It has different testing that you would have to go through than a land-based vehicle. Lenny did kind of hint that they had fun with some of the testing for the Vamp, and that makes me assume that the HISS tank had to go through that testing as well. Speaking of the HISS, the HMS was originally slated to be part of the HISS, either as an unlock or part of the base package. The team did share that looking at what it would cost out at, they were concerned that folks wouldn't, let's just be honest, buy into it after what they've seen what happened with Marvel and with Star Wars. So they did back that item out and focused on just adding some of the missiles and the different pieces that you could include, as well as the figure unlocks. One other point I found was kind of cool is the missiles were supposed to be, almost 12 inches long, so a lot bigger than what we've got. Emily did share that anytime you have like secondary items, so the HMS or the fire team, that they learn that you can't just lock those to the folks who back the HasLab. You need to be able to open that up to any consumer who would want to pick those up. Some folks didn't have the money for the HasLab. Some people didn't have the space. Some people didn't have both. But that doesn't mean if you like what you see with the fire team, with the decos, with the paint schemes, that you should not be able to pick them up because you didn't back it. Lenny did a very poor job of hinting at that we will be getting the Stinger. And if you have the Stinger, you should be able to get the HMS. It shouldn't be locked behind that paywall, if you will, of a HasLab. I know that some of the other Hasbro teams have struggled to identify that could be an issue, and that did cause issues in the community where people were upset about that as well. And then Tony kind of handed, hey, did you guys like that fire team? Would you like to see more of those figures in that deco? So that's probably something that they're looking at as well. Maybe you can expand that fire team, especially if we are getting that Stinger in those colors. Adding a couple more troopers would be really cool. Emily did share that they learned that maybe the Sky Striker shouldn't have been a HasLab. And really, she kind of pointed out where you can get it for that, pretty much the same price on the secondary market, where it had a lot of the features, but not everything that you got with the 3 3/4 inch O-ring style HasLab of the Sky Striker. And that moving forward, they're looking at how they pick which vehicles they're going to do for the HasLabs to ensure that they are correct. You want to make sure it's something iconic, that it makes sense, that it's big enough or special enough to have this crowd-funded type of product. She pointed out, like with other pieces of product, where that we're going to make it, when you buy it, where, the HasLabs are all or nothing. Either we back it and then it gets made, or it's not getting made at all. So I think that was kind of nice for them to open up about that. Are you guys excited for the Dragonfly? I am. I can't wait to get it, to set up some great photos of Wild Bill going one-on-one with the HISS tank driver. Of course, being supported by Clutch and the Vamp and the Ram cycles as well. So I think it'll just be some really cool figure photography, and it's going to be fun to play with our toys. Next up, let me throw on my tinfoil hat to kind of cover this. They talked about packaging, and when Emily kind of went through the explanation of tiptoeing around what she wanted to say or what she could say, it was revealed that the packaging team that they'd been working with they were reshuffled, and probably some of them let go with the E1 sale. And that meant that a new packaging team has moved in. And with the fact that Hasbro has lost so much money over the last couple of years, $40 million in Q4, they have to cut costs. And one of those ways is with packaging. You'll see a more streamlined, I want to say cookie cutter approach, but it'll be more cohesive to what other lines are doing. She did call out that Star Wars and Marvels, they had their packaging dies already set. And if you look at the difference between, the Black Series or even the Marvel Legends, there's not as much artwork that goes into those packaging compared to the Joes. So that's why we did see the change in it. It's a cost-cutting measure that will hopefully help, Hasbro fix a lot of the financial issues, at least move to help fix some of those issues, I should say, as they move forward. And then for the rest of the Q&A, Lenny says we are looking at Dio pieces. It's going to be what can fit on somebody's shelf. And let's just be honest, what's going to sell? They don't want to produce items that aren't going to sell that end up going into clearance. That's just wasted tooling budget, different things like that. So they're always going to look for ways of future-proofing an item. So I think with Dio pieces, we might start to see some of them, but they'll be smart additions. Does it fit on your shelf? Does it fit into a price point that folks want to spend the money on? Asked about the figure weights going from 5 to 4 with any type of changes that you see with budgets. They have to have a specific budget. And once they were able to add in the retro cards, that meant they had to reallocate some of those item counts into, of course, the retro card and the 60th anniversary figures. So that's what led from the 5 figure waves down to 4. Lenny also spoke to, the issue of not having iconic weapons with some of the figures. And it just called out, if tooling is being used, then I can't include it with some of the stuff that we're trying to. So it's basically, if an item is available, they will make sure to put it with that particular character. But if it's not, they will make substitutions that make sense as far as what they can. But again, I think with any of us, we can probably swap around some of those figures. And of course, all of our good friends, these third-party creators out there who are filling in those gaps as well. Lenny and Emily both talked about listening to the community and what figures that they want, and they're working to continue to build out all of those figures in the tooling library and bring the figures that we've been asking for. And then finally, I feel like such a dumbass that I skipped out on Cobra Commander on Duke, and I just stuck with the Real American Hero. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about these comics, but I had some good friends that said, check them out. It's awesome. I've been hearing great things about it. And I have to say, I made it through issue 1 of Cobra Commander, and I have to agree with them. Let me know what you guys think on the Image Comics, Skybound Comics, and what they've been doing with the G.I. Joe brand. These stories that are specific to Cobra Commander to Duke. I know we did a crossover with Transformers. I think I'm going to check those out as well. But I think they're doing a really good job. I like what I've seen so far. Artwork's been great. Story's been great. And so I'm kind of excited. I know this is a limited run, but I think it'll be one that I'll continue to go back and read. And again, like I said, I've heard good things about Duke as well, so I'm going to give this one a try. And I know that they have Destro and Scarlet coming out. And I do have to admit, I have been struggling with a Real American Hero. I don't know if it's an homage to The Walking Dead or Living Dead or whatever that show was. I'm sorry, I didn't watch it. But Serpentor, Zombie, and some of the other things that have happened, I'm really struggling to get through the G.I. Joe Real American Hero. But what are you guys thinking? Is it just me? Or do I know I'll give Larry time, because Larry has put out over 300 issues of G.I. Joe. And like I said, I still love the first 155, probably more than anything in the world. And even some of the stuff that he's done from IDW has been really good too. But what are you guys' thoughts so far on the comics for Joe? I think it's a nice change from IDW. I love to see the new stories, new writers adding some, new twists and turns onto our favorite characters. But that will do it for me. I hope you guys are having a great day, night, evening, wherever you're at on the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. A very huge thank you. Thank you for your support and all the kind words that you guys have been posting. I hope you guys are enjoying the content that we're making. But more importantly, Yo Joe, have a great day.